Hello, my little pumpkins. So, I know it will bore you to explain all my delays and why I didn't show up yesterday, so I'm just not going to talk about it. I'm here now. We're all here now. We're here now. That's all that matters, right? So, I'm going to fill up this first 10 minutes or so with my remote viewing of the cards. So, I have a box, as I've explained to you guys. I thought about putting this on my other channel, but you guys are the ones that care about this subject anyhow. So, I just pulled out a little thingy, a little, I didn't know what it was, just wrote a number on it, write the number down, go through my remote viewing protocol. And if any of you does remote viewing, I just want to, and you get something that just, you're like, oh, it's just projecting all my stuff into there. It's still really useful. So I had 2 full remote viewings that were pulling my question together and where I was going, what I was going through in my life, because there was a reason I pulled that out, and it was relevant. So they put those things together, and the very first word I got in the first remote viewing was the word time, and that really is what the cards are about. And the next relevant thing is that there was a sense of going down and finding a shoebox size square box, very pretty decoration, curious treasure, non-attachment, a very deep heart energy around it. It felt very personal. Um, and this theme kept coming through, an amazing level of non-attachment, which is so indicative of the final juicy answer. It's from aliens. Yes, it's from aliens, and I'm one of them. So before we get to that stunning conclusion and a little more analysis, I'll give you a few more details. So then my remote viewing turned into what looked like script. And it was a little bit like automatic writing, and some words came through, and this word jewel came through, or Julie, and it's like a jewel, but it's spelled Jule. Anyway, there was a sense of writing about it and excitement, and I think this represents the development of the cards. Let's see. Okay, so then when I realized I was kind of looking at my own life, I was like, okay, I'm going to put this down. Thank you so much, guides, for using this session to get my attention and give me a lot of comfort and a sense of the unfolding of my path. And now let's just get into whatever this remote viewing is. So you write down AOL, which means analytic overlay. Write down what you think it is and drop the pen. So you can just drop the whole thing. So I was like, this could be anything. So when I started writing again, this automatic writing changed dramatically into strange looking glyphs. And I had a sense that there was a big container with instructions and a formula. There was a lot of energy, a large volume, and the words ancient code came through, levels and layers. And that's often something I've talked about, that reading the cards is like, and when we do this, I firmly believe that we're getting into the living, what I would call living, unfolding energy of the cards, which is what it was intended to be. Like in the Golden Compass, when she is describing how she reads the alethiometer, she lets herself drop down, and when she gets to the layer of interpretation that is indicated by the whatever event, it will light up, and that's exactly how I've learned how to read the cards. So when I wrote the word layers, I started with the letter Y and then went out, and that's in the very center of the word, and that in itself was like an explosion of insight. I drew this. It's a little enigmatic. We don't know what it is. It looks like rain, something coming down, and then there's this vortex, and then these layers, and da-da-da-da, and at the very bottom there was like an image of water, still water, like a timeless sea. And that's important too. There's a time is laid within eternity and takes on sequence in the third dimension. But what we were given was something. Hi, Cosmic Sunflower. Oh, I love your little ladybug. I've seen a lot of them lately. I even saved one the other day from drowning. Anyway, so then I spent some time writing down kind of a composite of what I was getting. Oh, here's what I did. I did the streaming, image streaming, and I still didn't know what I was looking at. Okay, something beyond time existing as a whole. Start at center. So even though it's about time, the card system is about time, they were showing me that it's like you pick up a book and you go, here's the whole story existing in the present in my hands. But when you read it, it's an unfoldment and it is sequential, and that's the card system. There's some timeless wholeness. The origin of it is like it's an expression of wholeness. And Robert Camp said to me once in a workshop, the kingdom of heaven is within you. This represents a kingdom, and all of these frequencies and archetypes are contained within the self. You have all the cards in your hand. And I think ultimately the Joker is sort of like your higher self. It's like it stands outside of it, has nothing to do with it, is on a completely different plane, and is somehow completely encompassing all of it and none of it at the same time. Never really thought about that before. Okay, so still here I'm image streaming, just whatever I get. Start at the center, deliver this to the lower dimension where time and space demand sequence. Within is a timeless germ. Something I put there some time ago, easily retrievable, not hidden from me. It's time now for me to discover this precious gift, that little gift wrap box, that beautiful ornate wood carved box. It's a precious gift, responsibility. And what I saw was a patio scene. So there I think I did know what the task was, and I was just putting it together because when I did my image streaming, there was this, I came upon a village of tiny little people, and there was a playground. And it's one of my favorite places in our yard. It's where we had the audience sit when we had our wedding ceremony on this flagstone patio I built next to the water. So like it's all beautiful. And that's where this little village of people were. And there was this vortex of energy underneath the village. And there was a kind of a big fat rodent that couldn't get into this village because it was too dense. And then I did some more automatic writing just in the conscious space. And it just felt like it wanted to come out of my hands. So it looks like the word remember, which is very key because most learning is remembering. And those of us who study the cards and just feel a natural affinity with it, just like with astrology or Enneagram or whatever, I think we're remembering something. It's so sad that it all got stripped, but there's bleed through anyway with the soul. So anyway, there's this other dimensional energy, source energy underneath this little village, which this village could access. It's eternal, and source contains the whole. And again, that was without knowing what I was looking at. Okay, then in the image streaming, at the tail end of it, still not knowing what I was looking at, I saw this silver spaceship, little saucer, and it flies, it pauses, a bunch of light comes out of it, it drops something off, and it takes off. And there's this energy of simplicity and lightheartedness, and a very different, like what it took for that to drop into the time realm and then take off. And at the time that it was dropped off, the earth was very different and not developed. I think came with the origin, with the creation of the earth. I think we were all those ETs overseeing the creation. I think that's why we call ourselves star seeds. So anyway, that's the big reveal. So I had to get that out earlier on because it's like, well, of course, and Robert Camp and Only Richmond and all those, guys talking about the origin of the cards did say that it was extraterrestrial in origin. And they were saying that it's because it's a technology beyond us. But I would reframe that to say we were that race of people. We were those beings, and it wasn't necessarily a higher technology, it was a higher consciousness, a higher dimensional way of understanding the cosmos, the whole. which in a sense is a finite thing because infinity is it's not described by anything in particular. It's everything and everywhere and endless and um like it says, there's a verse that says, "As my ways are above your ways, as you know, as high as the heavens are above the earth." So, but then you get to trying to describe the cosmic experience, and we took our cosmic holistic understanding, condensed it into this little treasure, this tiny little box, sent it down to the earth, and it's the cards. And then what I got is that it unfolded with time to suit itself to our dimension. This is what I got. Cards are a community. It is a three or a two-dimensional composite of eternity. It's structured, complex, but from a timeless, less structured essence. The dense animal brain cannot inhabit the village, that little rodent that couldn't get in. So that's what they chose to reveal to me about the origin of the cards. And there is definitely an advanced technology, a mystery aspect to it that we just don't know why it is so accurate. But this gives us a clue, and I think as we can kind of meditate on that and connect with the higher dimensional, like they showed, like a vortex under the village. There is a timeless vortex of energy connected to the cards themselves. And Cosmic Sunflower, if you can think of a question to ask, I think you're the only one here at the moment, but go ahead and ask a question. But it looks like we're not going to have much of a Q&A today, and everybody's going to be like, darn, I missed the live. And that's on me because I was really depressed yesterday, and it didn't even occur to me to schedule a live, and I'm much, much better now. So, and the back is healed, and I'm on my way out, and I am in the process of writing the outline. That's what I'll talk about. I'm in the process of writing the outline for that Royal Archetypes cards. But anyway, it's the cards are a living dynamic system. Like, I don't know, it's a living divinatory system, and it's very cool. That living vortex of source energy is, hi Shaniqua. So if you guys have any questions, let me know. So I guess that's about it on the remote viewing. It's an exciting thing. I think that if we were to experiment with taking ourselves into a more expanded intuitive space before we read them, we're much less likely to just get that animal brain that didn't have have access to the source of the cards. So I think that as a psychic reader, this is just occurring to me now, but I make that time sacred with my clients, and I'm like, okay, the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to drop in and connect with your guides. And I think that because I go up to that level, I'm able to access a higher meaning or a deeper meaning of the card and kind of flow with the unfolding meaning that they are. So yeah, if you're a card reader, if you're studying the cards, experiment with doing that, dropping into a deeper state before you interpret, and you'll get a much deeper interpretation. So I will talk about the class that I promise I'm going to do. This is part of there's this book called The Big Leap, and it's about the ways we sabotage ourselves from expansion and happiness. And so I've been kind of sabotaging myself in regards to doing this class, but the outline is turning out to be really, really full and rich because I'm channeling information for the first time about how the aces are the inner child archetype, and the jacks are like the creative and the adolescent, and then the queen and the king are, masculine and feminine, mother and father. But anyway, I think I might just give the first class. We'll just see how far we get, and then I'll be like, okay, let's just do this again next Saturday or whatever. Okay, Cosmic Sunflower says, I think the mystery of the cards is different from culture to culture. My culture, the Xhosa, is it Zulu with an X? Xhosa from Cape Town. Yeah, I would imagine, and I love that you brought that in, because even as we look back 100 years to the interpretations from the Mystic Test book that only Richmond wrote, some of the things in there just don't resonate. And, as I'm looking at something, I'm just like, oof, I just throw it out. They don't call it cardology. It's just the cards. It's just Tzu. Oh my God, that is so interesting. Wow, that is very cool. I would think that the cards have um, incarnated in so many different ways because, like, isn't this the big question, the elephant in the room? If the cards are from this ancient beyond reckoning source, then what did they look like before we had the Gregorian calendar? And since I have accessed this guy's, and I'm sorry, I do feel like I kind of want to share my feelings on this guy's book because I did page through it and try to finish it. So it's a commentary, and um I'll just try to get into like a real neutral mental space when I talk about it with no emotion attached. But gosh, what was I saying? Something about the many different kind of incarnations of the Gregorian calendar. When I read the shadow cards, this like there are a lot of different ways that a lot of different things that people have done with the cards, and I have come from a very, very conservative, like I'm classically trained, and we can't veer from this. And I think it's really important to stay there for a long time and study within those guardrails. It's very important. And then I think as your intuition develops and you begin to trust that, then you can spread out to different kinds of interpreting and different ways of laying out the cards. But the shadow, this was just so cool to me. I would call it the moon chart, not the shadow chart. That's his interpretation, is that the moon is your shadow. I say the moon is your private life. It's your relationship with yourself. It's how you feel. Yes, it's hidden. Is it hidden from you? If it's hidden from you, then it is shadow material, speaking in psychological language. But it's I would call this the moon spread. And so it is all the cards laid out, but based on a 13-month calendar. So the first month and the last month of the year, the cards are the same, but in the middle, they're all different. And you can look up your own card in that way and then do the whole composite charts and just see a whole bunch of different things, which is really fun. So that's an example of how morphic the cards are. But I do think they have to be something pretty stable and organic, and also something that the collective has rallied around. That is a factor, even if it's a dumb idea, even if it's the wrong idea, like Jesus was born on December 25th. There is a collective energy around that brings that energy in on December 25th. And it's like, oh, the Christ child and all this preciousness, you feel it, because the whole world is there. So the collective, the collective feels the same. So anyway, what this guy had to offer at the beginning, I found very valuable. His interpretations are, I don't know what card he is, but I'm guessing he's a club because everything kind of comes through the head, and I don't feel like he's attached to the source energy. He's given this name and that interpretation. Oh, this is this is that, and I've found about 20% of it to be accurate. And yeah, this feels right. So yeah, trust your gut with things and don't be afraid to say, hey, I don't resonate with that. So um, anyway, do we have any questions? I would talk about my outline that I'm doing, except I don't want to give information away again. Dr. Sue is like, you keep giving it away for free. It's just my nature. That's the good part of my nature. I was given a Buddhist name, generosity boundless, and on the one hand, it's an insult because I'm kind of stingy in certain ways, but the teaching is where the generosity really comes through. So anyway, yeah, I'm coming up with a statement for each one of the suits. The child, I've really been contemplating that and channeling information around that and analyzing people. It's like there's a club. What does their inner child need? What kind of statement do they need? And I've kind of just been tuning into this and feeling into it. And also, when you have one of the archetype cards in your hand, you are totally that archetype in that arena. So, like the Queen of Clubs, I take on her characteristics when I'm in an ascending mode doing Uranus work, like teaching or enlightening or, delivering some kind of channeled message. So, yeah, even though I'm not a club, I will channel that energy. So thank you for your likes. That's very sweet. And what is there to say? Oh, I had some thoughts on the Ten of Spades. So I did a whole video on this before, and this has been the most challenging Saturn period of my life for the last 13 years. Like suddenly it just became easy when I turned 45. And then like it became my ally. And then this Saturn period has just been hell, with the back injury and the depression and which I feel like I'm kind of through. Jesus was really trying to teach me something, but the Ten of Spades is my ascending Saturn card. The descending Two of Spades says, be friends with yourself in the physical, like give yourself a bath, tend to your body, do physical things that are helpful to you. And then the ascending Ten of Spades is you'll arrive at this incredible success. Well, when you're not busy, the Ten of Spades brings despair because it's so here's a new name for all the tens, the perfection of. Okay, Lashana, I'll get to that in a second. Thank you. The 10 of Hearts is perfection of love and relationship. 10 of Clubs is perfection. Oh, and the word integration, perfection and integration of love, perfection and integration of knowledge. That's why it's the paradigm shifter. It's not just a lot of thoughts and knowledge. They're integrating it into a paradigm. Joseph Campbell is the 10 of Clubs. 10 of Diamonds is integration of values and connection with people and with business. And that's why they have to learn to delegate. And the 10 of Spades is integration and perfection of work. And that's why, there's just everything is in its place. Everything's working. The 10 represents a torsion field for some reason. So you can just go with that and go with that. And there's a lot of transcendent stuff that will come through about that. So Lashana, playing a 9 of Spades in my Uranus period. Oh, I love how you phrase that. I'm playing the 2 of Spades and the 10 of Spades right now. So Uranus, as I identify it, it's kind of the beginning of the come down of the year. So the Mercury period, you're thinking and planning and maybe getting kind of a picture of the year, ideas. The Venus period, you're developing a relationship with it, and you're falling into like with it. Mars, you begin to get passionate and active and into action, doing things. The Jupiter period, it expands, you're all excited, and then the Saturn, the shit hits the fan, the wrench gets thrown in, your ego comes up, people come in, they rub you the wrong way, and then the Uranus period is, what was that about? What the hell was that about? Fuck. Yeah, depending on your Saturn period, the level of relief that comes with the Uranus period is the contrast. It's just this neutral assessment and integration energy. Let's integrate everything that, okay, so 10 of Diamonds home position is Uranus, Mercury. So that's another word for integration of the whole picture. So a 9 of Spades, Lashana, in that position would be endings, completions, harvest. How has this past year given you the most expansive narrative for everything? Your knowledge, your experience, the origin of your soul. I mean, 9 of Spades is let's get that framework, because we have to work with frameworks, as big as we can. That's kind of the more esoteric feeling about it. But it's definitely going to be ending and closure, and with the Uranus vibration with it, it's a relief. You're not really attached to it. It feels good. So I'm pretty sure you're the 10 of Diamonds, right? And you were asking about a 6 of Diamonds X, but I go back to the orange page because I was writing in orange when we were reading for you. And if anybody wants me to do a relationship composite, we can walk through that again. Those are always really fun. So Yeah, you're the 10 of diamonds. So the 9 of spades is to you. What is it to you? Are you connected to that card at all? You would be through the King of Hearts. It would be an ascending. Okay, here it is. It would be ascending cosmic reward. There's a karmic connection with that. So I was right in feeling like there's a positive feeling about it. If you go up diagonally back to the left, it's ascending Venus, another easy vibration. And Jupiter, Saturn, Jupiter, Saturn. It is like, it's the transformation card, the transformed self card in the spiritual spread. Spiritually, this has been an amazing year so far with me displacing the Jack of Spades. Cool. But I currently resigned from a job that was extremely toxic, right? So there's the huge relief, the completion, the ending, the harvest. And I'm getting a hit that you're getting released from that job is in a way like a composite of a family system that the origin of family programs and old contracts that you had. I'm going to agree to blah, 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 give this away and get this reward and play this role. And letting go of that is like this big composite of like, this is what I'm done with. And letting this job go, walking away from this is my way to enflesh my departure from the old shit. I'm currently playing the Ace of Diamonds in my Saturn period. Okay, so you're not in the 9 of Spades, you're not in the Uranus. So that's what's coming, is a really big perspective, but you're in your Saturn. Okay, so you must be, are you a Leo? Because I'm in my Saturn too. Currently playing the Ace of Diamonds, my Saturn, financially a bit challenged, but I know I made the best decision. Yeah, very good. And the Ace of Diamonds, it's your inner child card. So I'll tell you a little bit about what I got channeling the Ace of Diamonds. Their little inner baby, which is your Mars card. So yeah, that shows up for you in career. This vulnerable child that needs, above all, and I want you to answer this before I say it, if you're a diamond, what does your inner child need from other people? When I was little, I didn't realize this because I was just sort of naturally invisible, and the whole family structure was set up to keep me invisible, which was kind of okay, but I got used to hiding. Validation, appreciation, exactly. That's what I was going to say is I need you to see me, but above all, I need you to value my participation. Like one time I spent the night, I was in first grade, spent the night, first night away at my friend Megan's house, cried. I was like, I need to call my mom. Anyway, I toughed it out. Mom's like, oh, you're okay, you're okay. Then when I was sitting at the dinner table the next night, I'm the youngest of 5 kids, and most everybody was there. And like, my breath barely even registered. Like, and my mom said, we missed you. And it felt better to me than anything had that I could consciously remember up till that point in my life. We missed you. In other words, you value my presence. So, and it is not for what I do. We fall into that trap just because we're on the earth, but it's for who I am. It's just my presence that is valuable and precious to me. And I'm getting a hit, and I don't know why I'm saying this. It's just like, my guides are just like, and when a 5 of diamonds enters the picture for a 10 of diamonds, they're going to teach you however they annoy you, and like it feels like something's going backwards, it's to slow you down and make you realize that this is what your inner child needs. There's a projection issue going up that's highlighting the specialness of your presence. And that's because 5 represents presence. I'm just here. I'm just present to what is, rather than being in a hurricane of change. The 5 really is about presence in the midst of the hurricane. And right, so it's not just what you do, it's who you are and how you show up for others, and how you just show up as an innocent child who's just like, this is the fragrance I give off. I'm a delight to be around because this is how I am. Right. So the Ace of Diamonds in Saturn is is probably really bringing up that primal. It's giving you access to it. I don't know if it's bringing it up because I know you've done a lot of healing work on all of this through your divorce and everything, but and 10 of diamonds tend to be very sharp, and when they want to do the work, oh man, they're overflowing with insight. But that 9 of hearts in your descending Pluto, it causes the inner child to hide somewhat and be just a little difficult to locate. I mean, being the 7 of diamonds and the 9 of hearts, that invisibility thing. I'm invisible from myself too. And as much as I talk about the inner child, and no matter how skillful I sound about it, it's really hard to access. She is hard to access. So, yeah, so this might be a time when you can be like, okay, I'm just going to go into meditation. I'm going to get blank, going to bring my guides in and be like, okay, I'm going to picture my inner child and I'm going to let her talk to me. And sometimes if you make an appointment with the inner child, it's just like that part in the Golden Compass. It's in the Amber Spyglass. It's at the very end where they're daemons, which they're embodied by little animals. They, wow, that's so cool. Thanks for that validation, Lashana. Their daemons are hiding from them, these little animals, because they had to enact a separation earlier in the story, and now they wanted to come back together. But it's like it's an aspect of your soul, and you can think of it as inner child, but they're kind of hiding from them, and that's exactly how it is. You have to sort of coax your inner child sometimes that it's safe to hang around me. It's safe to talk to me. I won't shut you down or slap you around or, oh God, we're so mean to our inner children. But one way to do that is to write with your left hand and get out like colored pencils or something kind of fun and playful and just like draw whatever comes to you. And another thing to do is to keep an appointment, like make an appointment and say, I'm going to go to the coffee shop and read this really fun book, or eat this really yummy treat, or something that your inner child really likes. And then keep the appointment, and then you will be amazed at how much more willing your inner child is to talk to you. Yeah, so any other card questions? This is so fun. It has been an amazing year. I saw a really great video. It was, I'm not even done watching it, but I really like Michelle Fielding. And her most recent video, she's talking about, well, and Pam Gregory's really good too. Hey, it skipped. Oh, here it is. It's called Tsunami of Energy and Upgrades Incoming. Michelle Fielding, gold something. Okay. More. Golden Heaven on Earth. So this is her YouTube channel. And what's so cool about this video is that she talks about being able to see her own angel wings. And my friend was just telling me, my 5 of diamonds friend was just telling me, I saw the Matrix and I was driving along and I was like, I wonder if I could see it, because I just felt this really high vibration. And for a moment, it's like I saw a shimmer. And some other things that have happened is these spontaneous healings, like this Jesus healing my back that happened a couple of weeks ago, and other spontaneous healings that I can tell all I have to do is just ask for them and receive. There's this, it has to be an open-hearted energy to receive it. But because of that, all of these things happen. They're juxtaposed with like this injury I had, the pain, the depression, and it's just the same old that we came into, where we're purging a lot of old stuff. Sometimes our family lineage is what we're purging. It's not even ours. And sometimes it's from our past lives or whatever. We're purging stuff. And then there's this ascending vibration. And I think we're all kind of feeling both. This ascending vibration is like really amazing, but it's also, I say, if you're going through shit times, just don't beat yourself up. Let yourself be there. It's part of the purge. There is a perfection. Like the other day, I was on my walk and I was like, thank you for this. Thank you for that. Thank you for my depression and the perfect part that this plays in my journey right now. So I don't know. And the cards are such a beautiful validation of when you look up a card and you're like, ah, that's exactly what I'm going through. Like every time I do, oh, and this is something that's in my book and it's very simple. But in your destiny cards, you see the card of influence that you're under. Take that card and write out the whole hand. And then the advanced course would be write out a sentence for the descending Mercury and the ascending Mercury. As I am thinking through or pondering this truth, I will come to this truth. And you go to the ascending Mercury and do that all the way through the card that is your card of influence right now. So, using Lashana as an example, or if somebody else, if somebody else wants to volunteer their card of influence, we can talk about that. But yeah, we've got another couple weeks to go on our Saturn, don't we? I shift on, I think, April 15th, so I'm August 6th, so you shift on the 12th, right? So anyway, let's talk about your Ace of Diamonds for a second. So you've got the Ace of Hearts in your pocket right now. It's this inner child energy. It may be highly sensitive, maybe paying attention to children, feeling really drawn by them. But the descending or the ascending moon, which is the card behind you if you're going up, would be the Queen of Diamonds. So if you master speaking the truth to yourself, you will, so that's the Queen of Diamonds, and you do this masterful nurture in terms of asking yourself what's really important for you to value right now, and I get behind you in that. Then the Ace of Hearts is like this little purring kitten, this warm inner child. It's like, oh, okay, I feel okay now. So that would be an example of how to do that. So for me, having the Two of Spades, and you can do that for every vibration. It doesn't matter what period. So I'm in my Saturn period. Let's look at Mars for me. Okay, my descending Mars from the Two of Spades is the Six of Spades. My ascending Mars is the Jack of Diamonds. So when I really go deeper with the questions of purpose, Six of Spades, when I schedule, when I get regimented, I try to keep myself in some kind of regularity, then I get the reward of the Jack of Diamonds and ascending Mars, which is entrepreneurship and a sense of ownership, a sense of ingenuity with business and all of that. So if I feel like I'm not attaining that, then I have to re-examine, well, what am I doing with that Six of Spades? Maybe how do I have some ego constructs around the idea of what my life purpose is, rather than just saying, I go with grace and I trust this to unfold according to my highest soul agreements. And if any of those agreements suck, I cancel them out. We have free will. You can cancel out. It's not, it doesn't have to be karma. It doesn't have to be, oh, I chose this, so I have to go through this. You can be like, nope, I don't want to be with that person because like I grew more than I was expecting to, and like they're not appealing to me anymore. For example. Okay, does anybody else want to share what the card of influence is for them right now and how they can make a statement about that? Go through the entire hand of that card, and it gives you a lot more information to work with about this period that you're in, especially where people are located with that card. Okay, so for the Two of Spades, my ascending Pluto is the Jack of Clubs. For me, that means taking things more lightly, but it also means club males, when they're immature, will trigger the shit out of me. Love. Good. Are you saying I love this? Okay, my sun is my ascending Mars right now. So when I'm in a really good mood moving forward and thinking about my career, it's easy to want to spend time with him. Jack of Diamonds. Yeah, and the King of Clubs, I have a King of Clubs friend in Jupiter, and he's brought us a sense of expansion and beauty. Mercury, Venus. Oh, and my ex, Queen of Hearts, is in Jupiter, descending Jupiter right now. And I was just thinking about, he's normally very annoying, and I was just thinking about composing a very nice gratitude text to him because he's brought me something. crazy accurate. Shaniqua, I am a 7 of spades. Thank you for telling me that. 3, 3. I don't know my, okay, that's your birthday, your influence card. Okay, well, we can find that out for you right now. How old are you? And that is that's the grid that we'll look up. And I know you told me in another what you call it, but let's see. Let's turn to I'm guessing somewhere in the 30s. And then we can find out what your card of influence is right now. Excellent. She's 41. And the 7 of spades sits right now. You are displacing the Ace of spades of the pure spread. That's who lives and owns, that's who owns that house. So, okay. The card of influence is your planetary period card. What do you have up right now? So if her birthday is March 3rd, that means she's in Mercury. That's easy. So you have, okay, if you looked in the Destiny Cards book, Robert Camp's book, you would see in your Mercury position, you would see the King of Hearts and either the 7 of diamonds or the 6 of spades, because that goes vertical. And I don't talk about the vertical much, but I'm sure it's a fascinating arena of study, and I really should do that sometime. I should spend more time with that. It just doesn't feel like a big deal to me. If I wrote a book like this, instead of putting the vertical card, I would put the ascending card, and that's what I've started to do. So I can make that statement and have that conversation. So I've opened up to 41. Okay, Mercury, King of Hearts, 7 of diamonds. So he goes up from the 7 of spades. So if you go the other direction, you have the 9 of diamonds. So I would say the descending card is I would say descending moon. I'm sorry if that's confusing, but the King of Hearts is about emotional maturity and becoming more gracious and tactful. I call it playing chess with love. So that King of Hearts would be like, okay, how can I grow up emotionally and really, when it's really ripened as an ascending moon card, which means it'll be behind you, it'll be to the left of that card of influence. No. Am I doing this right? Yes, I'm doing this right. I had a brain fart for a second. You feel the love of the Father energy. The King of Hearts is, I feel a sense of graciousness, ease of navigation. And when you feel that, then the reward is the 9 of diamonds. No, I said that in a reversed way. Yeah, those are a little confusing. But anyway, so are you working with emotional maturity, energy, feeling gracious? And then the 9 of diamonds is a card of generosity and giving it away. Giving your time, giving whatever it is that you value, giving that away. And that's interesting, because normally that's the card that sits right behind you. You're both just kind of moved over one slot. So the 9 of diamonds is actually sitting where you usually sit. Should be very interesting if you have any 9 of diamonds in your life right now. So does that make sense? She's having a conversation because she's in her Mercury period. She's having a conversation between the King of Hearts and the 9 of diamonds. When I am more generous, then I will become more emotionally gracious and mature, seeing the bigger picture. That's the better statement. Okay. I hope that wasn't confusing, but that gave us another chance to look at that. So, but you said you are, so here's another thing you can do. Take that to the next level. So in your Mercury card, if you're feeling that descending Mercury right now, that the King of Hearts, go to the King of Hearts in either spread and analyze it that way. You could go to this mundane spread and say, the King of Hearts That's what I was missing. That's what the brain fart was telling me. You can go to this King of Hearts and say, okay, what am I thinking about right now? King of Diamonds. That's on my mind is like the big picture, living in my integrity, maybe a man of the diamond suit, mastering my business. He's sitting in the Mars line in the mundane spread. So it feels very practical, very pragmatic, moving forward, Mars, take the next step. And the Six of Hearts in Venus would be, and you could feel all of these at any time during that period. Relationship, Six of Hearts is going to feel pretty smooth, pretty predictable. Four of Clubs in Mars is going to feel like, wow, I feel so sane and logical. Or it could be that homeopathic dose of like, oh, I feel a little crazy. But you're the one that has to bring yourself grounding and clarity and sanity. That's how that card works. And I haven't come down to a conclusion of when, if there is a when, we experience these cards, but if you look at the entire hand of the card of influence, it's like, yep, over 52 days, you're not just doing Mercury every day. You're doing relationship, you're doing, business, you're doing emotional development, you're doing all of it. So what's your Saturn right now? See, so that's another nice thing. I'm in Mercury, but I feel really Saturny right now. Maybe because astrologically it's being activated for you. So Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn. The Saturn card for the King of Hearts is the Jack of Spades. So that means during this period, it's likely that some lifestyle aspect would really change such that you would be challenged in your consciousness and your spiritual development. So it's a really good time to like sit in a shamanic drumming circle, go to a lodge, a sweat lodge, sit in kind of a shamanic space where you can be like, okay, what are they trying to teach me? What am I trying to get? And there is a kind of a nonsensical things feel turned upside down or inside out when that Jack of Spades shows up. So it's an initiation of some kind. Okay, anybody else want to be in the hot seat for a minute? Then I think I'm going to wrap it up. We've been going for 47 minutes. So if you're curious about my remote viewing, I described that in the first 10 or 15 minutes of the video of this remote view that I just pulled out a little slip, did remote viewing, didn't look at it, and my question had been, what is the origin of the cards? So there was a timing with that seemed to be important for right now. So, what's the United States doing right now? That's always a fun question. Oh, you are so welcome. I love that. I do thank you. I love the sound of that. I'm going to use that. I do thank you. Okay, Jack of Diamonds. And what period? Oh, yes. You missed this. You mean that, well, it's at the beginning of the video, so you can go back and I only had a couple people because I announced that I was doing 15 minutes before I did it, so I didn't expect a lot of people to be there. So the 4th of July, the United States yesterday entered Uranus. Okay, Ram, do you know what planetary period you're in right now and what your card of influence is? That's what I call it, card of influence. I'm not sure if that's a Robert Camp thing or if I just refer to it that way. Yeah, we just got out of Saturn as a country and went into Uranus yesterday. Unless it's the 22nd today, it's the 23rd. So the rest of this year, or the next month and a half, we're going to be thinking about what this whole previous year has been about and like what we have been learning as a country. And the very first thing that comes to me is the attempts of the mainstream media and the cultural whatever, their attempts to whip people up into a certain feeling. Everybody's like, you put me through like the whole freaking pandemic, lockdown shit, take the shot, the mask, the family division, the election, the blah, blah, blah. I'm not getting excited for nobody. I am just going to chill the fuck out. That's the very first thing that comes to me is like people are just like, no, I've gained some maturity and I'm not going to get sucked in. I just feel like there's so much less of that. Even if you care, you still care about this issue or that issue, or you pay attention to it. It's just like, take a deep breath. I kind of think everything's going to be okay. So maybe I feel like people are just getting back to their own business. They're just doing their own thing this year. So our Uranus card, good question, Paula, is the Nine of Diamonds and the Six of Hearts. So we're definitely the Nine of Diamonds, the stress around money, but it's also causing us to be more generous with our friends and stuff. It's like, hey, here's some eggs. I have chickens. What do you need? What do you have that I need? Six of Hearts is an evening out of our relationships. That's nice. And then the Neptune period, we have King of Spades, King of Diamonds. Very powerful, explosive end to the year. I feel like what I'm hearing is some people will come on the scene at that time that will just like, I see them rattling a cage. And it's going to feel like pulling us out of our slumber a little bit and the kind of non-attached energy we've had this year. And yes, we've had the Queen of Hearts as a long-range card this year, which is the Neptune card for the Jack of Diamonds. So we've kind of been in this like, what's real? I think that's kind of like, why should I care? Because I don't even know if that's real. For God's sake, I'm so sick of caring. Okay, Ram. Yes, in Mercury, you're in Mercury, and your Two of Clubs. Oh, it is the Two of Clubs with a King of Diamonds result, but it's about to change to Venus. Okay, so you're in Mercury. So which card are you? And I am so sorry that I don't remember what your card is. Let's look up the Two of Clubs for a minute, and maybe I'll get there. But I don't know how old you are. And then you have Ten of Diamonds and Venus. Okay, so 10 of Diamonds, placement of the 10 of Diamonds. Let's consider three things. Let's consider the pure spread. It's a very unexciting position, and isn't that a relief to all of the 10 of Diamonds? Oh, you're a 6 of Diamonds. Okay, thank you. You're 31. Okay, let's open up to 31. So you're in Mercury having a conversation between... Okay, you're sitting in the home that is owned by the Nine of Diamonds. Nine of Spades on one side, Two of Clubs on the other. So Nine of Spades is your ascending Mercury. So resolving the Two of Clubs Mercury is, how is your self-talk? How are you talking to yourself? How is your communication? Is there a depth, a kindness, a precision, a wisdom? Is wisdom accompanying the Queen of Clubs? Is she coming into the wisdom of how do you talk to yourself, not just what are the facts? How are you talking to yourself? And then when that is resolved, then the result is the Nine of Spades, which is a completion, an ending, maybe an end of a job, an end of something, a harvest, a much larger perspective about something. So then you have 10 of Diamonds in Venus. So the 10 of Diamonds... Oh, and I would encourage you, yes, look at the hand of the Two of Clubs and how that could be relevant to your whole experience. So there it sits in the Uranus line with King of Clubs here and Mercury, and yeah. Anyway, the 10 of Diamonds will have a conversation with the 7 of Diamonds. So the 10 of Diamonds is about in that position where it lives for real, the home that it owns is Mercury Uranus. So it's much more about developing or delivering a higher truth, a consciousness shifting truth. In the Uranus line, it's about delivering it for the sake of the collective. And in Mercury, it's about truth. So during that period, finding what that higher truth is, this is a real expansive year, very developmental year for you, Ram. Also, age 31 is ruled by the 5 of Diamonds, which can feel very, very destabilizing for a 6. 5 is restless. I don't know what I want. What should I want? It can be very challenging. So you might become more aware of what you're dissatisfied with this year and you don't like to go there. Just take a little time and go there. Write down what you don't want, and then what you do want will become more clear, and that will clarify your values and where you want to go. So that 10 of diamonds in Venus is like, let's collect up all my values and what I really want, and how maybe I've been caretaking people, how I've been sacrificing myself unnecessarily. Um, but also looking for a higher truth. And then the ascending Venus is 7 of diamonds, which is knowing your precious value, your unique value, not just how you're a cog in the wheel of a machine. You are precious and unique, and your DNA signature is like no one else. So that's what your Venus entails. So, anyway, I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you so much for sharing this time with me. And if you're interested in the remote view, I do give the juicy answer to the question of what is the origin pretty early on there, and I don't torture you with the details, but the my guides always give me the frickin' esoteric. And that's kind of interesting because it's, yeah, they're like, here's what the cards really are. And if you open yourself up, you might be communicated with about, oh, this is where the cards should sit in my body, in my energy field. This is what it is. This is how it works. So, anyway, blessings, and you are so welcome, everybody. It's a pleasure to read for you and look into your cards because we all learn stuff, and I am so blessed. My descending Saturn, now that I'm working the 9 of Hearts, the second half of my life, my descending Saturn is the 9 of Diamonds, and my Buddhist name is Generosity Boundless, Jinpa Tame. So, that is my work, is to be generous, and isn't it just such, it's like the best kept secret in the universe is that when we give and we're generous with our time and talents, we get such a bounty back, and this fills my heart, it lifts me up. So you guys have a blessed day, and if there's something that you really want if there's something you really want me to talk about, I'm going to tell you something. Go to my website, itiskismet.com, look under Cosmic Connections, and it'll give you my phone number. And you can text me and be like, hey, I really want you to, I mean, it's really personal, I know, but is there a less formal way you can tell me? You can come back to this video and just tag it in the comments. And then it shows up on my little icon. You can say, please talk about such and such. And your curiosity is, you're part of the collective. So what you're curious about, everyone's curious about. It's in the field. So anyway, and I will talk more about, I promise I will schedule this class. It'll be $40. It'll be an hour to an hour and a half. I am borrowing a friend's Zoom account, which is unlimited time. So if we feel like going for 2 hours, we might, but I'm getting so much information that I'm guessing we're going to want to do another class. So I'm going to just do the first one. We'll get through as much as we can, talking about every single court card and its suit and what that means for you and your life, your personality and stuff. And level 2 is how you get along with people of other suits. You know, what are diamond females to you? What are club males to you? Yada, yada. So anyway, yes, have a really great day. Feel free to leave something in the comments about what you'd like for me to either remote view. And if you have a remote viewing task, don't tell me what it is. And if it's card related and if it's esoteric, that'd be really cool, but it can be anything. You can just write a set of numbers, 8 numbers, and then I'll remote view it. Ooh, I have to ask my guides to filter it. A lot of different things could come through that, but you guys are respectful, so you wouldn't give me anything weird. Okay, talk to you later.